Okay, so I'm gonna continue the lessons. I'm calling this project Obra Icons tutorials, and I'm like kind of building up this little curriculum here, which I should maybe put in the same layer. And the idea is that I basically teach how to create Obra icons. There's like basic topics, there's advanced topics, and by explaining in screencasts how to make icons, I can kind of get to my curriculum. So this will be rough. Maybe I should put a warning, rough screencasts with no structure. So as they say in English, YMVV, your mileage may vary. So maybe somebody will learn a lot from this. Maybe somebody will think, oh my God, dude, please organize your screencasts because this is just too chaotic. But if you watch the previous lesson, you will see that I focused on explaining key shapes. I explained some Figma shortcuts for icon creation. I explained how the pixel grid works, some basics of the pen tools, and there I just stopped by creating a document icon. That was kind of like the last step. So we ended up with this document icon. Let's see, it was not that good, not that accurate. So let's just delete it because this reference is a much better one. And in this lesson, I just wanted to go over like a bit more of advanced techniques, I guess. The best way to learn is just by start creating. So I will need an idea of an icon that I don't have. I'll just go inside of Obra Icons, and I'll look into this kind of what I have right now. And maybe I'll visit some website, right? So I was going through the Aftermath website. I see there's a comment icon here. I have that. There's like a user icon here. There's like a star and a moon. So what I usually do is just check like, do I have this in my set, right? So I have a moon. See, there's a bug here on the website because of some recent CSS change. So I should fix that. We have the star, we have the sun, kind of the sun. See, so we kind of have that. Maybe this website, because it's just a gaming publication, it won't really give us like much unique things. I see a butterfly here, so we do not have a butterfly, and that's actually the logo of Blue Sky. Let's say that we want to start and creating a butterfly icon. I think that's not a bad idea. So my usual starting point would be two aspects. Like I would look at icons that other people have created, and immediately I see this one, which is like kind of like the detail level that we are looking for, maybe a bit too detailed. I see a few more. So this is stroke based, so that might be a good reference. And I just see like a general problem here, which is that it's quite a detailed icon. But okay, let's see if we can get somewhere, right? So I'm gonna delete this one because I think this is a better reference. And let's just look at what we have here. Also, just maybe as a secondary reference, let's go to Google Images and type in like butterfly vector icon. Okay, so let's see if we see anything that's interesting. This is very simple. That could be interesting. Like just focus on like the shape, the overall shape of the butterfly. But I don't know. Like I like it better if it has like the body of the butterfly there. So what we want to do is like analyze the shapes. So what I see is there's a shape that goes like this. I'm also going to use the the correct width. There's a shape which are like these kind of wings. I mean I don't know how to call that in English, but there's like the feelers, like how they can sense like where they are, and then there's the head kind of. And I think that's like it's quite a specific shape. And what I sometimes will do is like go into a shape that I already created. Like this really reminds me of the map marker icon. So I'll just look at the marker with this kind of shape and see if I can just reuse that. So here we have a marker shape, okay. And then there's the wings of the butterfly. So actually this is also kind of like a marker shape, except that it's like it flattens out. So here we kind of flatten out the vector. And I'm gonna explain what I'm doing here, right? So I hit enter to go into vector mode. And if we're in vector mode, you see these little dots here. One thing I'm forgetting is also like the overall resolution. But let's not get into that yet. So here's the enter mode, and we have like the vectors, right? We have the vector points, and here I want to join these vector points. So what I'm doing is I'm hitting Command J. It's Command plus J. That's a join vector points. And then what I have here is enter, which is enter vector mode. So you first select a vector, you hit enter, you're in this mode, and then if there's a segment, a path, you can also press Command X or backspace to delete it. So delete or Command X, cut to delete a vector path. So those are like these things that I do without really thinking about it, because I've done it a lot. Now, if we really like analyze what's going on here, we have like this kind of shape that it starts being a circle kind of, and then it ends here, and then there's a curve again, and then there's a straight point, and then it becomes like this, right? But if you draw it yourself, you will see that it comes out pretty ugly. Like this, for example. What is that? Like that doesn't look good. So what I want to show here is like the heel. And if you go in and you click this, and then you do Shift backspace, it's going to remove that vector point. So it's Shift plus backspace. It's gonna like remove that point, and it will try to approximate a vector in the middle. So let's say I remove this point. I don't really want to remove that point, but just so you see what's going on. It will remove that point, and it will try to calculate a vector between this point and this point. So I'm going back because I actually needed that like curve here. And if you look at the original, it's following like a really, really nice like actual curve. So instead of like tracing and getting to like a weird shape, sometimes it also helps to start off from this kind of like overall shape, right? So we have an overall shape, which is a circle. Then we add a point to it, like here. And then from that point, I will start dragging out like what I need. This also creates a problem, right? So let's try to maybe heal it. This is not exactly what we want, but could be an interesting shape to maybe keep, maybe use for later. So we kind of chose a difficult example here, but let's roll with it, right? So if I resize this and I make it larger, I kind of have like a variation. It's not the same, but it's like a variation of that shape. So let's just roll with that for now, and let's do the other side. Okay. Now, what about the top? What does this look like? For example, if you consider this like kind of square-ish, you could almost make it look like this. So that's another technique you can use. You draw the square and then you start rounding it. So because of the roundness and the rounded corners, maybe let's make this an actual vector. Let's see, make this an actual vector. Then because of the roundness, it will also look good or look like close to what we need. So what did I exactly do with when I was changing? I was changing the vector point. So like this is a point. I don't know the exact terms. If I hit Command and click on the vector point, I'm changing how the vector points work. So Command plus click on a point, change point type. I have to look up the technical term for this, but like let's say every point has a type. It's not even in the settings, right? It's not even exposed in the UI, but every point has a type, and this type determines how the vector like moves around. So if anybody knows the name of that, it would be very, very welcome. Okay, so let's see if we can bring everything together. So here we have this shape, we have this shape, and then we have this shape. And don't worry that like things overlap at the moment. That's not a problem. I'm gonna like add a round aspect. Okay, so we're like getting closer to having like a cool butterfly shape, right? The main challenge is like making it fit with like the actual icon set. So let's say that we group this and we drop it into our icon set. What we're gonna want, and I'll just call this butterfly. What we want is that this butterfly fits with the rest of our designs. I don't know what is going on here with this box. Okay, butterfly. Okay, so how do we make it better, right? So I'm just gonna also resize my reference and see how we can make it better. First of all, I will also change the ending of the roundness, and I'm gonna start tweaking the details. So we have like 8 pixels here. This one, like why is it like such a weird value, right? So I'm resizing it, and I'm resizing it with snap to pixel grid on. So all the things we've learned so far are like vector shortcuts, but what I'm talking about now is a setting. So one of the settings is snap to pixel, and let's see if I can find it. Snap to pixel grid, Shift Command apostrophe, Shift plus Command plus apostrophe. So what does this do? Like let's say I start drawing a vector, it's going to try to snap to the pixel grid. And if I do not have that on, so I disable it not right now, snap to pixel grid is disabled. So now I can like move in between the pixels. Whereas if its snap is enabled and I try to move, it's going to try to snap to like the pixel grid. So basically, in most cases, you will want this setting on, but not always. But for like the base of icon creation, it's good to like align to the grid, right? So I just aligned this top part to the grid. I'm also aligning again here. Then I'm aligning to the center. I'm also aligning this, but since this object is 3 pixels, I cannot really align it correctly. Maybe you don't see what I'm doing, so I will just put opacity on the butterfly's wings, and I will here tweak this manually. What you can do, and this is where the nudge comes in. If you put small nudge at 0.5, I can actually just hit left arrow and I can put it in the right position. All right, so now I'm also tweaking this vector point so you can actually see the butterfly's like main shape. And then let's bring the wings back and let's see what that should look like. I'm just gonna remove the wings for now. And what is interesting here is that like this line is straight. So let's just maybe create that sort of line as like a base to work from. We have a straight line. And for now, I'm just gonna put my nudge amount back to 1 because I find it like easier to work with. Okay, so like this overall shape, we kind of only need the bottom of that shape. So let's remove that pad, which I'm doing with Command X. So that's this shortcut, Command X, or delete, but I find that I have my hand on the left side of my keyboard anyway. Like, you know what, like this vector doesn't even look good. Like the curve doesn't look good. So I'm just gonna delete that and basically start over because I don't like how it looks. So one technique that you can use to figure out how you should create something is by turning around an icon until it resembles what you want to draw, right? So here, this is kind of what I want to draw. And like now I'm thinking about another technique, which is again the rounded corner technique. So what we can do is we can create this like spade-like shape. And let's see that we match it so that it's, let's start with a square. That's always good. We pull it up and then we round this corner. So in my opinion, this like looks more like a wing than anything else we had before. So let's see if we can use that as a wing. We can make sure that these vectors are straight. We snap them again to the pixel grid. And then this one too, and this one too. Okay, so it is actually slightly different than the icon that we are like recreating, but that's cool. That just, there's a lot of different like butterflies in the world, and we also don't really want to like exactly copy the icon that we are using as a reference. So I'm going here and here. Okay, so this would be like the bottom wings of the butterfly. What about the top wings? Let's go up. Let's add our wings here. And let's see what that looks like. Again, this does not look very good, right? So I think I chose a hard one to explain the techniques. So again, we start again. I have to go back to my strategy of the map marker, I think, except that it doesn't have the straight edge that I was looking for. So how do I come to this shape that has a straight edge? Mm, It's kind of like an elongated version. And then because it's elongated, it does create like a longer straight edge. Let's try that. And what you can do is also like use the pixel preview to judge if things look good. It's a bit hard, like you can have like a new window and then add, like open the same file basically in the new window. We have two windows, and then in the new file you disable the UI, and here you work with the pixel grid on or off. So I think it's better to have the pixel grid like on here and then here off on this one. So you can kind of see what you're doing. So here I'm gonna remove the snap to pixel grid for a second because we're doing this kind of like really precise vector work. So let's just assume that the top wings are also kind of like the bottom wings. This would be a different kind of butterfly, right? Like it just has a bigger top wing than a bottom wing. But if we do that, we also create a unique shape. Like we have less detail, but I think that still looks like a butterfly to me, except maybe the top wing should be like a little bit bigger. And here we should be careful that we're not extending too much out of our key shapes. Here, maybe we should have a different kind of body. Maybe the body should be larger. Like here you can see that the body is not that visible. It becomes like grayish. So because the icon is pretty small, we might need to be more extreme with the body part and then move out the wings. So here we move out the wings. We're kind of getting to the shape that we want for our butterfly. I think this looks better. You can also just compare, like if we kind of make the same size or use the key shape again and put this button on there, like what would it look like? Let's say it actually has the 2 pixel as well. It's too detailed basically. So we have to simplify the shape here. Maybe the small wings could also be smaller so that we're like exaggerating the shape of the butterfly. Okay, so kind of an advanced icon. The point is it needs to look good, and there's still a lot of work here to like finish up our butterfly because it's hard to see right now. Like maybe to your eyes it looks finished and it could probably be used for like certain purposes. But if we change the stroke to 0.5, we will see like this is not like finished at all. Like it doesn't look good when you change the stroke. And this is because those like different parts of the butterfly are vectors, but they're not connected. So let's try to resolve that. This part will teach you some like newer techniques. So first of all, we're gonna make sure that this vector and this vector is actually part of the same vector network. So what I'm doing is I'm hitting enter. I'm cutting out the pad. I'm selecting with command click deep selection, hitting enter again, and then pasting. So that was a whole thing, and things are going wrong here as well with the round. So I remove the rounding. That was like a whole operation, right? So we probably need to repeat that operation, but it's like enter, then cut the path, then paste a path, like you enter layer 1, you cut one path away, you enter layer 2, you paste the path. And if the vector points align, so this like vector point aligned with each other, Figma will try to join those to like one single path. So here we have one single path. Okay, so let's do the same here. I'm cutting layer 1. I'm adding it to layer 2. In this case, I can actually just drag up this vector point onto this point. So now we're joining everything together. I'm gonna do the same technique to join everything here, but now I see that something's going also wrong with the shape, right? Like the integrity of the shape is gone. So we just have to be careful that this shape will actually stay the same shape. Maybe it's depending on the roundness, maybe it's depending on something else, or it's like joining in the roundness of this layer onto that layer. And what you can do to avoid that is you use flatten. So flatten puts the roundness corner radius back to 0. Then if we join it, it will probably stay the same. Exactly. So that's working, right? So now we have this kind of body shape. I'm bringing it back to 2 pixels stroke, just to check what it looks like. Now we have the wings. So the problem, let's say, is like, do we want to clip the wings to be like one object? Like ideally, that would be the case. But like the vectors here, they do not really align. Like there is no like real connection point. But let's just simply try it and see if we can figure it out. So what I just did is that, like, it's my instincts, I guess, for creating icons, but I went into outline mode. So I'm just gonna put this here, which is like the previous thing I explained is like an advanced layer operation or unifying layer, unifying vector layers. That's what I explained. And what I'm explaining now is outline mode, which is Command plus Y. Okay, so I'm going in outline mode specifically to see if my paths align to each other. So I'm moving the vector paths closer to each other, same here. And then my next step would be to make sure that everything is connected. But the thing I don't like is that my shape is not here, right? So the button, a butterfly wing, and this is what we observed before, there's like this kind of straight line here. And the way my paths were set up, it didn't have that straight line. So that straight line is kind of created by the unification of these two shapes. So I'm setting it up so I do have that straight line. And now I'm just maybe gonna focus on like one side. Let's just first put the 2 layers together. Just focus on this aspect. So I'm maybe first gonna make sure that like they are in the same vector space. So I did that operation of unifying the layers, but I didn't really unify anything because they're not like on the exact same position. But Figma does like merge them together. And what I want to achieve is that it looks good, even at a very low stroke weight. So in order to achieve that, we could maybe make those points, like move them together. But then this line is conflicting with this line. So if I do that and I go to my very, very low resolution, I'll maybe go very extreme, it's not gonna look good, right? It does not look good. So in order to fix that, I can maybe move things up so they don't interlock. And then I apply once again the 2 pixel stroke. So here there's kind of like two lines moving towards like a single pixel. I think that's what we want. So I'm gonna go back and attach the wings. I'm gonna duplicate and I'm gonna flip. So those are two very basic shortcuts, but just for completeness, we have the Command plus D for duplicate, and we have the Shift plus H for flip. And H stands for horizontal, so you can flip horizontal or you can flip vertical. Okay, so let's now connect our, well, let's maybe do like a checkpoint save, butterfly 1. And then let's go for the next kind of phase would be that we connect everything to each other, because with this kind of shape, I think all vector nodes should just be interconnected. Why? Because let's say you have a very low resolution. I mean, that still looks kind of good to me. Like, so maybe I should just keep it as is, because the way, like, the more interconnected nodes you have, the harder it is to maintain a node. And about this one, you might be worried about like the pixel precision of whatever we are doing. I understand that. But at 24 pixels and trying to show like different concepts, it's not that important that everything is on the pixel grid. What's more important is that whatever you are drawing like looks good when you would see it on like a poor screen, on a high resolution screen. So most screens are high resolution right now, but it's still a good practice to put things on the pixel grid, I think. Just so you know that the rendering will be better. I don't know how to explain this, but this is just something that I think it's an aspect of like icon design where if you put things on the pixel grid, they will probably look better. Okay, so can we call our icon finished? Probably not. Probably needs some more detail work, but I think this video is already going too far, and we kind of covered this one, specific pen tool shortcuts. So I'll name this video tutorial 2, which is the advanced icon tutorial, where we create a butterfly. And in the number 1, we create a basic icon, tutorial 1, creating a basic icon. So that's another video I have on YouTube. And tutorial 2 is creating an advanced icon. So we're kind of getting to like a full-on curriculum. There's like much more info, but I think with these two, you can like really start making icons. Pixel preview, I think that's what we were, or no, snap to pixel, that's what we were discussing here. Okay. That's it for today. That's it for the tutorial. We're ending with a little butterfly icon. I don't know if I will like release it in Obra Icons, but looks okay to me. And I think I will evaluate it and see if I like it enough to like add it to the main icon set.